This was a good old-fashioned butt kicking here at the TD Garden. Celtics get crushed by the Rockets. Let's talk about it right now on the Locked On Celtics podcast.
Beantown, be ever ready. It's the C's. Who else could it be? What they gon' say now? Screaming like JT. Karalis recap the madness every game, every practice. Prime time jabbing D White on the sideline. Raining J's, how it started, raising banners, how we finished. Locked on Celtics pod, home of the winners.
Welcome back to the Locked On Celtics podcast right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, where it is your team every day. Your team is the Boston Celtics. I talk about them every Monday through Friday. Bonus podcasts when they play in the weekends. Like this one here. It was a game here at the TD Garden. If you're watching on YouTube, I am here at the TD Garden where it all happened. Make sure you're subscribed. The show is free and available everywhere. It is on YouTube. Get into the comment section. Share your thoughts with me, John Karalis, beat writer for Boston Sports Journal. I've written a couple of books about the Celtics. Been covering the team for about 20 years. This is one of the more thorough whoopings I've seen in that time. Celtics get crushed by the Houston Rockets, 128-101. This is a bonus podcast, so when they play on the weekends, you get free bonus podcasting. This one is not going to take very long. I don't think there's much need to go deep into this game. The Celtics got crushed. Things did not go well from the beginning. They started poorly. They finished poorly. It was just a bad night for the Celtics. Okay, we saw that coming. We saw it coming. It didn't take a rocket scientist to see that the Rockets are a big team. Like I walked into the back at halftime and I ran into Brian Scalabrine. He was like, "These guys are huge." Like you see them up close. You're like, "Yeah, man, the Rockets are a very, very large basketball team." And they took advantage of that size advantage. They are a good basketball team that shot incredibly well. And basically the story of this game is the Celtics played a certain style. It's the style of defense that they normally play. And maybe they didn't play it as crisply as they could have. Maybe they made some decisions that, as Peyton Pritchard said after the game, was like, well, maybe we made a couple of like fatigued decisions. The Celtics are on a stretch of 6 games and 9 nights, and their second, they played a 3-4, a day off, another 3-4, second night of back-to-back, all that stuff. It does play a role. The Rockets, who again are very good and rested, they had a couple of days off. You can kind of see all of this coming. We knew this game wasn't going to go well. It went a little differently though, because I thought that the Rockets would shoot normally and that they would just crush the Celtics on offensive rebounds. They didn't. The offensive rebounding percentage was better than Boston's, even though they had fewer offensive rebounds, because the Celtics missed 63 shots and they had 14 offensive rebounds. The Rockets missed 35 shots and had 12 offensive rebounds. So the Rockets did get a better percentage of the misses, but there weren't a lot of misses. They shot 65.5% from 3. They shot 42 of 77 overall. The Celtics, it's like weird numbers in this game. The Celtics put up 103 shots, which I love, but they only hit 40 of them. They were 14 of 44 from 3. They only got to the line 7 times. When they got into the middle of the lane, this is where the height really showed itself. When the Celtics got into the middle of the lane, they got blocked. They got blocked on dunks. They got blocked all over the place. When the Celtics, when it flipped and they were going to try to block the Rockets at the rim, they were getting wrists and forearms because the Rockets are just bigger than the Celtics. They're super athletic. They fly, and they can get up higher and block shots while the Celtics get up and hit arm. And so they gave up 35 free throw attempts. And people are going to get worked up about the free throw attempts. I'm not. It's maybe some of the calls could have gone a different way. Certainly there were a couple that you say, okay, these are questionable here and there, but the 35 free throw attempts were mostly legit. The Celtics 7 free throw attempts, you can say, okay, maybe they could have gotten a few more. Wouldn't have made a difference. It's not. That's has nothing to do with the outcome of this game. I thought the foul calls were kind of appropriate. The Celtics were fouling. They were reaching. It's part of the aggressive defense that they play. Joe said after the game, part of this is, your turnover percentage is going to be tied to your foul. You're fouling because you're being aggressive. You're reaching. You're trying to go for steals. There was an early steal. Josh Minot on Kevin Durant was perfect. Durant had his back to Minot, wasn't really paying attention to him. Minot swoops in and gets the steal. That's how the Celtics want to play. The flip side of that is, if you're being aggressive and you're kind of helping in from the weak side, they're leaving shooters in those weak side corners, and the Rockets on multiple occasions turned and fired these big long skip passes to get to, or passes to the corner from the middle on drives that drew the defense, and they just found corner three after corner three after corner three. Could the Celtics have done better in defending those? Sure. Maybe they overhelped and were too deep and they didn't react well, or that certainly could have helped. But the way the Rockets shot, there was nothing the Celtics can do. When a team shoots 65.5% on you, you're going to lose most of those games. I can't imagine a scenario, unless you also match them, that you're going to win. So the offensive rebounding wasn't even they didn't even have a chance to give Steven Adams 20 offensive rebounds, right? Those opportunities weren't even there because all the Rocket shots were going in. So the Celtics kind of came out strong, which I expected. They kind of quickly faded on that, and it was a 13-point lead after one. It got up to 19. Josh Minot had a real good stretch. He hit a three. He found Chris Boucher on a nice cut, and then went up for an offensive rebound, got a putback. It was a quick 7-0 run, fueled completely by Minot, forced the timeout, and then the Rockets came out from there and just took over and never looked back. And it was never a game after that. So there's not a lot to take from this. The Celtics played their style of defense, and the Rockets made them pay for every decision they made. Good decisions, bad decisions, didn't matter. The Rockets came in and hit everything. They hit everything. They took, 26 fewer shots than Boston and made 2 more. This is incredible shooting efficiency. They put up 128 points. Meanwhile, the Celtics, Jaylen Brown didn't play much. They sat him halfway through the third quarter. They were just this isn't working. We're no point in pushing it, especially with the hamstring. Just pull the plug. Derrick White was bad in this game. And look, I obviously have a very high opinion of Derrick White, and he's having a disaster start to the season. I think he's going to figure it out. I think this is getting to a point where it's in his head. But also, Derrick White has had stretches like this. I remember last December, I think it was, where he had a disastrous kind of stretch. When Derrick goes into a slump, he goes into a slump. We know when you watch, there are times where he gets into these funks and he can't snap out of it for a while. When he finally breaks through, it's going to look great. I'm hoping that the upcoming stretch of Utah, Washington, Orlando twice gives him some opportunity to make some shots and feel better about himself. He just needs a few to go in, and I think he'll be fine. But for the beginning of the season, the way he's shooting, that was just really, really bad. I do think, though, look, I'm not going to spend any more time on this game. There's really nothing to say. After the game, Peyton Pritchard was like, I don't know that there's anything to take away. The Celtics are very matter of fact. Joe Mazzulla was like, yeah, they were awesome and we sucked. He didn't say those exact words, but he basically said those words. They were great. We were not. End of story. And Pritchard was like, yeah, what do? You got to move on. So the Celtics finished this first 7 games 3-4, which is totally fine. I've said this in the podcast a million times. I thought 0-7 was on the table. 1-6 felt like, maybe they could, maybe 2-7 I thought was actually the most realistic one. Now 3-6 is I'm sorry, 3-4. Why do I keep doing that? 2-7 is not, that's right. It's not 2-5. I go the other way with the numbers. Like I'm a moron. 1-6, 2-5, 3-4. I swear when it comes to numbers, sometimes the brain, it just, I don't know what it is. It just locks up. So I thought 1-7 was possible. 2-6 was most likely. 1-6. I'm leaving all of this in, was possible. 2-5 was most likely. I'm leaving this in because it fits the performance of what the Celtics did behind me. That's why I'm leaving this in. I could edit this out very easily, but I'm not going to, because the Celtics absolutely sucked in this game, and I absolutely suck right now in this podcast. But it doesn't matter. The Celtics are 3-4. 3-4 after the opening 7-game stretch. 3 + 4 = 7, John. And I'm totally fine with that. I consider the first 7 games of the season a total success for the Celtics. Struggle opening things up. Winning 3 in a row was really good. Yes, there were some factors that played into it. The Pelicans are not good. The Cavs played terribly. Donovan Mitchell disappeared. He clearly wasn't 100%. Evan Mobley was terrible. Josh Allen was terrible. Jared Allen was terrible. The Cavs played a stinker. The Celtics took advantage of that. They had a good lead against the Sixers. They didn't have Barlow, who had 5 offensive rebounds against them in the first time around. The Celtics, the guy that killed the Celtics on the board wasn't there. So the Celtics, caught a little bit of a break. They took advantage of that. They won. Impressive that they win those games. You got to win those games. You got to hold off the Sixers. It's all really, really good stuff. This game, chalked it up from the beginning. I knew this game was going to be garbage from the beginning. Everybody here knew this game was going to be garbage from the beginning. So to come out of this 3-4, perfectly happy, consider it a success. Now to make it even more of a success, 3-1 on this, and these next 4 games would be perfect. 2-2 is okay. Okay, so 5-6 or 6-5 is okay. 6-5 obviously would be better. I'd be happy with that. So I would think after 11 games, 6-5, color me happy. Everything is good. Celtics are in a spot, because if the Celtics are 6-5, you do that every 11 game stretch. You end up doing that 7 times. You end up 7 games above 500. So that's, I'll take that. So before I wrap things up, Baylor Scheierman was good. And this is kind of like an important little thing. You take these little bits and pieces from games like this. Baylor Scheierman comes in, no pressure. Obviously, they're getting smoked. He hits a few shots, and now maybe some of his confidence is coming back. He's been stacking up these little bits here and there, right? A couple games ago, gets in, plays well for a few minutes. Okay, shows a little bit of something. Last game, comes in, plays well for a few minutes, shows a little bit of something. You build these little positive things up. Okay, you do something positive, you get a little bit more of a chance. Now he shoots well. In this game, he was, where are you, Baylor? 6 of 7, 4 of 5 from 3. Now, obviously, he's not going to shoot 80% from 3, but still, knocking down some shots is important. 5 rebounds, an assist, 17 points, a -2 in a game that they lost by 27. That's nice. So, a nice night from Scheierman. That's good. Now, carry that forward. Take that into Utah. Utah's not going to be the easiest game in the world, even though they're not that great, but they're a big offensive rebounding team. they miss a lot of shots. There are opportunities for them to get the rebounds, but Scheierman's going to be able to use his size and get in there and maybe grab some rebounds himself. And that gets him a chance to stay on the floor and maybe hit some shots on the other end. So in a big pile of, crap what this game was, you get a little nugget of Baylor Scheierman being good. So I'm not going to go too deep into anybody else. Like, whatever. This is just one of those nights. It really is one of those nights. It's like me trying to do math, simple math. So the Celtics got smoked, and that's the end of the story here. That's your bonus podcast from me on this night. I think it's an appropriate one. Not much to say about just getting the doors blown off, but I'll be back tomorrow. We'll digest all of this stuff. This is the Sunday podcast. I'm going to go take advantage of my extra hour of sleep, and you should do the same. We'll be back for another week of podcasting, so make sure you are subscribed. Bonus podcasts, they play on a Friday. I will be here for a Saturday podcast, so make sure you're subscribed. Again, it's free. It's everywhere. Become an everyday or join me every Monday through Friday, plus these bonus podcasts. Get onto that YouTube page. Let me know what you think, and I would love it if you shared the podcast. Tell everybody they should be listening to and watching the Locked On Celtics podcast here on the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day.